Hi, Bootsy Greenwood here, breaking down transurfing chapter by chapter. And it's starting to get really, really interesting, folks. We're getting into some weird stuff here, some nuance, esoteric kind of stuff. And, a lot of these ideas we've heard packaged differently than we have here. But the main idea here of this chapter is called the alternatives flow, okay? The alternatives flow is basically like, what is going on? There is a third dimensional physical aspect, and then there are all these metaphysical aspects too that are going on. We're trying to find our lifeline here. We want to be on our best lifeline, headed straight to our goal, the path of least resistance. And that's exactly what we're gonna figure out, okay? Have you guys ever seen The Matrix, the movie The Matrix? The kid holds out a spoon and shows it to Neo, and he says, "There is no spoon." Okay? So that's an interesting idea. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with this, and I'm going to say that there are infinite spoons. And we can prove that. I mean, infinity is a real thing. In the other side of what he calls the alternatives space, there is literally every single possibility that has ever existed will ever exist. So the idea is that we want to navigate the alternatives flow. Now, we can make whatever goal we want to happen. We can't become Napoleon, because that's just absurdly out of the question in the reality that we live in. Now, that's a pretty interesting idea too, and an interesting thing that he talks about is mental illness. So let's talk a little bit about the two components of being a human being, other than all the body parts and different things that we have. We have a mind, okay, that's up here somewhere, and then we have a heart, that's in here somewhere. And I don't say that that's the physical heart necessarily, but it still is represented by that symbol. I won't say that's the physical brain either, but mentally we have constructs. We operate through symbols. We say that's green, that's blue, that's pink, that's a triangle, etc. The heart does not speak. It doesn't even think. It just feels and it knows. The heart feels and knows. The mind is capable of doing amazing things, but it can really only create a building out of already been made blocks. Okay? So it can reconstruct things, but it can't make something really out of nothing. Everything that's a great discovery, a scientific discovery, that comes from the heart, because the heart is connected to infinity, or to the divine, and the heart is also connected to the mind, but it speaks very still. The mind is not connected directly to the space of alternates or the alternative space or infinity. The heart is connected between the two, and that's why it's often the feminine, connected to the infinite and connected to the brain. So that's what we are. We are, basically mind and heart, okay? And we're going to get into this more as we continue on. This is how he wraps up the first book, and the second book is next. And we're going to start talking about dreaming and what actually happens when you dream, which is pretty tripped out, at least in this theory. So there are infinite spoons. There are infinite realities. Now, we can't, like I said, we can't jump from one reality here in 2019 or whatever to like reality. Maybe you can, and you can do some like astral projection or something. I don't know, but that would cause a disconnect, and that would create a crazy person. He even gives an example in the book of this lady who has to go to a psych ward because she believes that she's like some old Egyptian princess or something, whereas there's countless stories of people who are able to just reach their goal, because it's not it's like, oh, okay, I could become an author sure, anybody in our time could become an author, but to become a spaceship worker, it's just not possible. It doesn't exist within this time and space. Now, as we focus on our goal in the alternatives flow, we light up certain paths, and that energy opens up those pathways. So basically what he's saying is there are infinite spoons. Everything that you want is already there. Every life, style, and different thing, everything is in that infinite space, which who knows where that is. I mean, that could be in your cup of coffee, but the idea is that every single reality already exists. So instead of fighting for a way under the sun and competing against all these other people who have the same idea or goal or similar idea or goal, we're completely wasting our time with that because our individual lifeline already exists. What we want is already there. Instead of trying to cultivate and create and battle, well, all we really need to do is fix ourselves on the lifeline that we want to be on, being our authentic self and chasing our goal. Move from control, trying to make things happen, and you still have to take steps, but to observation. Okay, so that now we are paying attention, we're being attentive, we've got our heart open, and we're looking for signs and symbols around us that might tell us, hey, there might be a change in the alternatives flow, because this stuff gets weird. It starts branching off funky. And you'll start to notice some weird things happen. You'll start to notice people's faces seem to change. Even your own can. Just weird stuff that you would think otherwise was impossible. But you'll start to notice these little turbulences in reality where you were like, wait a second, that seemed to me to be differently. And what's happening is we're changing lifelines constantly, just going through these alternatives flow. And we're working with the external world in building our reality as well as everyone else around us. So it's this big contribution, everybody's contributing to their particular reality. We want to move from control because what's that going to do? That's going to sabotage us. That's how we're going to mess ourselves up and screw up our own path, to observation. So that now we're in a place we know what we want, we're cool, we're walking there. And then as soon as we see a sign or some sort of disruption in the space of alternates, or who knows, we can be like, oh, that's my cue. I'm going to listen to the rest of the morning stars now, and I'm going to head in this direction. That's going to bring me closer to my goal. So control and observation. The more you give up control, the more control you actually have in the situation. The alternatives flow, constantly flowing. It's got all these different offshoots and things, and so we're navigating that. Whatever it is that you want, it's already out there. Whatever your goal is, it already exists, and it's waiting for you. You just need to choose your way to get to it. And how do we do that? We use the power of our minds and our heart in unison and unite those two ideas to make that discovery that's in the alternative space of who we are. That's who we're connected to. And then we make the decision consciously, I'm going to go to there. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to go to where my goal is. Most of the time, he says in the book, things are simpler than we think. We make everything a lot harder. But the idea, there are multiple infinite spoons, like there's a spoon here, 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 here. And you get to choose where that spoon materializes from the alternative space. It all exists already. It's all there. And putting our energy and our attention there where we want what we want without too much importance, without excess potential, lights that sector up of the alternative space. And now the alternatives flow is working with us as we observe, and we are able to take the next possible step to get closer to our goal, to get closer to our goal, to get closer to our goal. So that's it. You've heard that term, God helps those who help themselves. I think that's a very super simple way to think about what this chapter is all about, because within infinity, every single option exists. Certainly some we're not going to be able to attain. I can't become a French, I don't know, what were they called? I don't even know, like a king or something. And that's just not going to happen. They don't have kings anymore. But if I wanted to go to France and learn how to speak French and get a job in France, then that's totally doable. And if that's who, I am and what I'm put here to do, or a part of that, then it can be very easy to accomplish. And it can also be very difficult, because the more we live here, the more difficult we're making it for ourselves. We're sabotaging ourselves. We're attempting, we're trying, we're working really hard to get to a certain reality. And all that's doing is creating turbulence. It's like taking your hand and slapping it against the water. And as soon as you slap your hand against the water, there's so much resistance that you'll never, you have no ability to move your hand anymore. You're just causing a bunch of turbulence. You're just causing a bunch of excess energy and excess potential, and limiting your ability to get to where you want to go. Where it's really simple. It already exists. There are infinite spoons. Just shift your focus from control to observation, and in your mind's eye, see what you want. Try to pay attention, take stock, be present, be in your body, focus on your heart, and do all those things that help you and allow you to listen to the rustle of the morning stars, and then just take the next step and take the next step. All right, well, that does it for the first book of Transurfing. We're going to start next with lucid dreaming. Super interesting. It's getting thicker and thicker as we go on. If you have any comments, comment below. If you have any questions, comment below. Find me on patreon.com/BootsyGreenwood. Find me on gumroad.com/BootsyGreenwood. And I am at Bootsy Greenwood all over the social medias. So holla at your boy. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.